Yo, what's up guys? We're back with another video today, and guys, UFC 313 Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev is happening tomorrow, and let me tell you guys, I am so excited for this main event. This is one of my most anticipated fights as of right now. I'm a big Pereira fan. I don't know what gave that away, but regardless, I'm very excited for this main event, and I'm also excited for this card. This card's actually pretty decent. It's not like the craziest card, but it's pretty solid when you look at it more closely. And so I'm going to be giving my predictions for this full card, starting with the prelims and ending with the main event. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, starting off with the first fight, Dorian Santos versus Ozzy Diaz. To be honest, guys, I didn't know who, Ozzy Diaz was. He did fight, after his Dana White Contender Series. I thought he was just coming off the Dana White Contender Series, because, the UFC, website didn't update his, render or whatnot. But regardless, I'm gonna go with Santos by decision. Not much I can really say about this one. I don't really know much about these two in particular. I do know that Ozzy Diaz got finished in his first fight in the UFC, so that sucks for him. And honestly, I'm gonna go with Santos, to be honest, by decision. I don't think that Santos is gonna knock him out, but I could see this being a decision win for him right here. Alright, next fight, Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. This is actually a very recent fight that was made. I think this was made less than a week and a half ago. So this was put last second before this card actually finalized. As far as this fight goes, when I was looking at this fight, I was gonna go with Chris because he's fought better competition in my opinion. He was in the main event with Song Yadong, and he's fought some decent competition. But honestly, I kind of want to go with John, to be honest. I don't know why. This is a very close fight. If Chris wins this, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm leaning towards John here by decision. I don't think he's gonna finish him. Neither of these guys have crazy KO rate, and they can't really get knocked out that much in their last couple fights. So I'm gonna go with John Castaneda by decision. Alright, next fight, Marlon Santos Alves versus Francis Marshall. I'm gonna go with Marlon Santos Alves. That's a long name to say. First of all, that is a extremely long name to say. Imagine saying that 5 times fast. It'd take 5 years. But the point is, I'm gonna go with Marlon by TKO in the first round. That knockout he had in his debut for the Ultimate Fighter, that was a nasty knockout. That was a devastating knockout right there. And he's quick for featherweight, to be honest. And as far as Francis Marshall, look, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know who this guy was. I can't remember for the life of me watching his fights. And I don't think he's that good at all, to be honest. I've looked at his record. I mean, he's 2-2 in the UFC right now. I don't think he's gonna be anything too crazy for Marlon, to be honest. I think Marlon is actually pretty decent as far as an unranked fighter goes, but we need to see him fight more. So I think this is a good test for Marlon just to see, how he does against UFC competition. So I'm going to go with Marlon by TKO. I just think that Marlon's going to win this, and his KO threat is going to be a lot in this fight. All right, next up, next up, Alex Morono versus Carlos Lee. Man, this is just an amazing fight right here. I mean, just you look at this and you're like, damn, this is actually going to be fight of the year right here. Okay, no, I can't. This is probably gonna be the most boring fight of the whole card right here. I should actually do that for all these prediction videos. Have the best fight and then the worst fight. But maybe I'll do that. I'll think about it, guys. But this is definitely gonna be the worst one on here. You've got Alex Morono, who's one of the most boring NPC welterweights in the division, versus Carlos Lee, who got robbed in his fight against Rafael. The biggest blatant robbery I've ever seen in the UFC as of recent years. But to be honest, look at the dude right here. He's clearly on PEDs. Either that's PEDs or he's got massive acne problems. Either way, it's not a good look, but I'm going to go with Carlos Lee just on the fact that he had a really good performance in his debut, by the way, against Ruffy. I think that I could see this being one of those things where it's oh, Carlos Lee's going to win this easily, but then Alex Morono comes in and he puts an upset or whatever like that. I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. I think Carlos Lee is actually going to get a decision win. I don't think he's going to TKO Alex Morono anyway. Joaquin Buckley couldn't, so I don't think that Carlos Lee is going to do it either. So I'm going to go Carlos Lee by decision. All right, banger fight in the prelims alert, guys. Bruno Ferreira versus Armen Petrosyan. What a banger this is. This should be on the main card, actually. Like, I know these two are unranked, but this is going to be a great fight right here. I just know it. And it's a tough one, to be honest. Because you could make an argument that Armen Petrosyan wins this, and I wouldn't disagree with you. But for me, I just see the value of Bruno Ferreira winning this fight. I'm gonna say this, like, to be honest, I feel like that Bruno Ferreira gets slept on in the division, right? I think he's like 3-2 in his last 5 or something like that, which is not good for like an unranked fighter, but I feel like he's fought decent competition as far as unranked fighters go, right? He fought Alves and Magomed in his last fight. It was very competitive up until he got submitted. And I feel like that he's going to come into this fight with, like, a vengeance and, like, a, drive to win this fight. I mean, this is just a really good fight right here, to be honest. And I feel like that people aren't taking seriously Bruno Ferreira's KO threat in this fight. He's got really nasty, like, abilities to knock people out. And I feel like it's going to be a scrap in the first 2 rounds. And then Bruno Ferreira's going to find a way to knock out Armen Petrosyan in the 3rd round. So that's what I'm going to go with. Bruno Ferreira by round 3 TKO. Alright, Joshua Van versus Ri Tashura. This is actually another really solid fight. Fun fact, actually, this is actually the first fight in the UFC history, I think, where both of these fighters are above the age of, like, the 2000s. Like, which is actually kind of funny. I was born in 2000, so, you know, I can relate to that, so that's pretty cool. But for this fight, I think it's a close fight. I think this is a very tough fight for Joshua Van, because Ray is pretty decent, I feel, but I don't think Ray has enough experience compared to Joshua Van. Joshua Van's fought some pretty decent guys in the featherweight division right now, in the flyweight division right now, and even though he is very small for flyweight, I still think he's pretty good. I'm super upset that Bruno Silva pulled out of this fight because I thought that would have been a really good test for Joshua Van, to be honest. But this is also a really good fight, in my opinion. I think that this is a much more clear win for Joshua Van than it would have been for Bruno Silva. But I'm still somewhat worried for Joshua Van because you never know. With flyweights will go crazy in that division, especially the unranked flyweights, right? Never underestimate a flyweight who is fighting on the prelims of a pay-per-view, right? Because nobody watches those unless you're hardcore or some... You get what I mean. Unless you're hardcore, and then they put on some of the best fights of the whole card, right? I'm going to go with Joshua Van by decision, though. I don't think that Joshua Van has the KO threat, and Ray I don't think has, like, any KO threat, to be honest. Maybe he does, I don't know. But I'm going to go with Joshua Van by decision. Alright, prelim headliner. Curtis Blaydes versus Rizvat Kuniev. Look at this Rizvat guy. He's trying to be like a Shamil Dagaziev, like 2.0 right here. You are not Shamil Dagaziev, Rizvan, right? Look, he's trying to be like Shamil so badly, right? He wants to be like him so badly because Shamil has so much aura. But I don't know where I just got with that, right? But with this fight, I'm going to go with Curtis Blaydes. I mean, wow, shocker. I think that's like... I don't know why the UFC made this fight, to be honest. This is such a weird matchup. Like, you give a guy who isn't even in the UFC yet. He hasn't even fought once in the UFC, unless you count the Dana White Contender Series. And what does he get for that? You get a top 5 ranked heavyweight person. Wait, you get a top 5 ranked heavyweight contender in the division, man. Good luck for you, man. Good luck. You're gonna do great. Why? This actually, like, it was bad when they gave Shamil Gaziev Jargino Rosenstrike as a main event, by the way, after he got 1 win in the UFC, and they're just doing it worse with Rizvat. I have no understanding why they're doing this. Maybe they just feel bad for Curtis Blaydes after he got, like, fucked in the Tom Aspinall fight. Maybe they feel bad for Curtis Blaydes after he lost against Tom Aspinall in his last fight, so they're giving him a free win. I genuinely don't know why this is the case, to be honest. This is such a weird matchup. And also, why are we giving Rizvan, like, a fight in the UFC in general? This guy got popped in his fight against the guy who got knocked out by Francis Ngannou in the PFL. I can't even remember his name, but you guys know who I'm talking about, right? I don't know why we're allowing him fight in the UFC. It's so weird. I don't think he's on PEDs because, I mean, just look at the photo on the screen right now. I don't think he's on PEDs. I would say Curtis Blaydes is a more likely contender for being on PEDs than Rizvan is right now, right? If you know what I'm saying. But regardless of that rant, I'm going to go with, like, Curtis Blaydes by TKO in, like, the first round, to be honest. Alright, now we are on the main card for this pay-per-view. Bobby Green versus Mauricio Huffy. Guys, I'm not going to call Bobby Green King Green. Like, come on now. That's so dumb. But, you know, with this fight, honestly... First of all, I do want to say one thing about these betting odds, right? I'm not betting or anything, but I noticed that, like, they have Ruffy as, like, I think a minus 400 favor or something like that. Did we not watch his last fight against that blob? And he was gassed out by, like, the second round. I know I'm still going with Ruffy, though. You see on the screen, I have Ruffy by decision, but I find it weird that we have Ruffy as, like, such a big favorite in the betting odds when it's Bobby Green. Bobby Green is actually a really solid, like, unranked lightweight, to be honest. He was just in the rankings, right? And he's a tough fighter to fight on the feet. He's very stylistically a tough matchup for some guys just because of the way how he fights and all that stuff. But I think that Ruffy is still going to win this. I still don't understand why the betting odds are like minus 400 for Ruffy and plus 300 for Bobby Green. Realistically, I would have it like more like a minus... I'd have it more like a minus 200 for Ruffy and like a plus 150 for Bobby Green. That's just how I would have it. But regardless of the betting odds, I'm going to go with Ruffy by decision. I could see a TKO for Ruffy because he does have decent power. But after that, his last performance, I feel like he's got power, but it needs to be timed kind of power, right? You need to throw the combinations and all that stuff in order to knock people out. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know if he's going to get those good combinations against Bobby Green, because Bobby Green is, again, a tough fighter. Maybe I'll be completely wrong, and Ruffy just smacks Bobby Green, just knocks him out in, like, the first round. If so, I'll be even more glad, because I do like Ruffy. He's actually a pretty solid fighter. I'm saying this like I don't like Ruffy. I actually like Ruffy. I think he's a pretty solid dude. I think he gets slept on when it comes to, like, the fighting nerds group. I think he's one of the more underrated guys of that whole group. And I think Ruffy's gonna do good in this fight. So I'm gonna go with Ruffy by decision. Alright, next up, Amanda Lemos versus Lasmin Lucindo. To be honest, I was gonna go with Amanda Lemos, but I kind of want to go with Lasmin Lucindo, to be honest. I actually was playing UFC 5, like, today as I'm recording this, and I was playing as Lucindo because that's how the game wanted me to play, and I lost playing her. So maybe this prediction might go terribly, but I'm still gonna go with Lucindo. I think for one, she's much younger. Lemos is like 37 years old. She just got some in her last fight. Maybe I'm getting this wrong and I'm having Lucindo win this by decision. I don't know, to be honest. I could see Lemos winning this. This is one of those fights where I can see like Lemos like being up another like young contender, because let's be real, guys, it's very rare for like a lot of these like up and coming prospect female fighters to get up the rankings, because most of these like young female contenders, they're just not good. I'm gonna be honest, like they will get in like the top 15 to like the top 10 rankings, but they cannot get like at the top 10 or above. But when it comes to like most of them, they can't. Maybe Lucindo can be one of the exceptions. Who knows? I don't know, to be honest. I don't honestly know. She is on a winning streak. She hasn't lost in the UFC. But who has she fought, to be honest, when you compare to Amanda Lemos, right? Like, I'm very worried about me picking her, but I'm going to go with her by decision. Alright, next up, Jalen Turner versus Ignacio Bahamondes. This is another good fight on this card. This was also placed on the card very recently. I think they made this one like 3 weeks before the pay-per-view is set to be like happening. But I think that this is still a very good fight to be put on the card, right? I was very tempted to go with Ignacio. I was very tempted because he has looked good in his last 2 fights. He has looked good. But the guys that he has fought, in my opinion, are not the same level of contenders as Jalen Turner has fought. Jalen Turner has lost to Moicano, he's lost to Dan Hooker, and he's lost to Gamera. Those are, like, not bad names to lose to. All of them are in the top 10 of the lightweight rankings, right? They are all very good, in my opinion. And he had very close fights with them. He had a very close fight with Dan Hooker, and he had a very close fight with Gamera. A lot of people thought Gamera lost that fight, and Jalen Turner should have gotten that win, right? And, like, I was going to go with Ignacio because he's just on a better like streak than Jalen Turner is, right? But then I look at Jalen Turner and I just see the guys he's fought and he's on a much better level compared to Ignacio is. And I think that how this fight's going to go, it's going to be a scrap in the first like couple of rounds. They're going to be trading. It's going to be relatively close. And then Jalen Turner in the 3rd round or in the 2nd, depending on how it goes, is going to rock Ignacio and knock him out or TKO him. That's what I think, actually. Alright, Now we are on the co-main event, Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Man, I was so pissed when Dan Hooker pulled out. I was so looking forward to that fight, man. That was going to be such a good fight, man. But, you know, if we can't get that, and this is the best option the UFC could have had, I'll take it. Because Rafael is pretty exciting, in my opinion. As far as how this fight's going to go, right? A lot of people are picking actually Rafael Fiziev, which I'm actually surprised about. Because, like, Rafael Fiziev is on a 2-fight losing streak, and he hasn't fought in like a year, and he lost to Justin Gaethje as well. So, like, what's going on here? Now, I can somewhat understand because they did have a very close fight in their first fight. Don't get me wrong, it was very close. I will rewatch the fight, and I thought Justin Gaethje won that fight. I thought he did enough in like the second round to win it, and in the third round, he clearly won it. Round 1 was clearly Rafael Fiziev. Round 2 was very close. You could make an argument for Fiziev, but I think that Gaethje did enough in that round to win that. And then round 3, it was very clearly Justin Gaethje. I will also say, why on earth is Justin Gaethje a plus underdog in this fight? I know we got finished against Max Holloway, but that's Max Holloway. This is not, like, Rafael Fiziev is not on the same level as, like, Max Holloway. I don't understand that. I mean, yeah, he got slept by Max Holloway, and I think that Rafael Fiziev has good power, but I just don't think that. I think Justin Gaethje taking a year off is actually very beneficial for him, and coming back, he's going to be very hungry. He wants to win. The mentality I'm looking at his fight is looking like the same Justin Gaethje, like nothing's changed. Like, yeah, I got knocked out. It is what it is. I'm going to still be scrapping, though. I don't think that he's going to, like, come in here with, like, a bad mentality. I think he's actually going to do really good, and I think he's going to do better in this fight than he did in the first fight against Rafael Fiziev. I don't think he's going to finish him, though. Rafael Fiziev is a tough fighter, in my opinion. Yes, he got TKO'd by Gamrot, but he literally got injured in his knee in that fight. He didn't get, like, rocked or anything. He got, like, hurt on his knee, I believe. I watched that fight, but I haven't rewatched it since, so yeah. So with that, I'm going to go with Justin Gaethje by decision. Alright, now for the main event. Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev. Now, if you guys notice, I'm not going to go too in-depth with this one because I literally made a 7-minute video talking about this fight. But to keep it short, I think Alex Pereira is going to knock out Magomed in the second round. I truly think that. I think then the first round, it's going to be relatively close. Alex Pereira is going to use his leg kicks, his jabs to, like, keep Magomed from his distance, not allowing him to take him down or anything. Magomed's going to have to stick with the striking, and he will eventually try to do one takedown, but Pereira, I think, will be able to stuff it. Then going in the second round, Magomed's going to try and push him a lot more, and then Pereira's going to be able to catch him with maybe with a counter as he's getting pushed to the cage or something like that, and then he TKOs him, knocks him, similar to how we did to Yuri in their first fight. I think that's what's going to happen in this fight. I truly believe that, and I'm going to go with Alex Pereira by TKO in the second round. There's not much I can really say about this. I literally made a 7-minute video about this. If you want to watch it, go watch it. But guys, that is me giving my full predictions for UFC 313. I'm very excited for this card. I'm very excited to see how this fight goes, especially with the main event. And yeah, that's how it goes. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace!